Welcome back to the deep dive. So what we do here is take all this research, all your notes and questions, and we try to distill it all down. We want to find immediate, you know, actionable knowledge that you can use right now.
Exactly.
And today we are tackling a challenge that we hear about constantly. It's this deep frustration,
Oh, yeah. The
the
paradox.
paradox of understanding English perfectly well, but then you just freeze up when it's your turn to speak.
That passive comprehension paradox, it's so real. So our mission for this deep dive is to pull out the simplest, the most effective, and really the most actionable steps from this material. Steps to bridge that exact gap. We're calling this one, Start Speaking English from Today.
Right. And you know what I'm talking about. You're the
Yeah.
passive learner. The material is in there. You could follow a movie. You could read an article.
Sure.
But the second you need to pull that information out and, produce fluid, confident speech,
Nothing.
the brain just locks up.
Yeah.
The tongue feels heavy.
Exactly. And the core insight from all this research is, I think, kind of revolutionary. It tells us this is often not a speaking problem at its root.
Not a speaking problem.
It's an input problem,
Yeah.
one that's tied directly to confidence and practice. The material shows a direct link between strong, consistent listening skills and building the pathways your brain needs for your tongue to just speak naturally.
Wow. Okay. So that reframes the whole mission. If you feel like you understand but you can't speak, we shouldn't just be looking at how you practice speaking.
You have to look at what you're consistently putting into your brain.
It all starts with listening.
Precisely.
Yeah.
If you want to unlock speaking, we have to start there.
Okay, then let's unpack this right away.
Mm.
If someone listening wants to start speaking today, right now, what is the absolute first, the non-negotiable step this material gives us?
The diagnosis is pretty clinical. It says learners simply don't listen enough English every day. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're only absorbing the rhythm of the language for, say, 20 minutes a week, your brain just won't feel comfortable trying to replicate it when you're under pressure.
So the very first action, the thing to do today is just listen more.
Just listen more.
But I know what you're thinking because it's what I would be thinking. I don't have time for a 2-hour block of English listening every day. That's the pushback, right?
Of course it is. And that's why this small step strategy is so vital. We are not demanding 2 hours. The sources are really clear on this. The commitment doesn't need to be overwhelming. Even a focused, dedicated 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference.
Okay, so why is that so powerful? 10 or 15 minutes? Is it just about fitting it into a schedule, or is there something deeper going on with, like, habit formation?
Oh, it's absolutely tied to habit formation. When
Yeah.
you ask your brain for a huge time commitment, it triggers avoidance.
Right, procrastination.
But 10 minutes, that's a low enough barrier. You can tack it onto something you already do, maybe during your morning coffee or walking the dog. It's about building a sustainable ritual, not some demanding one-time event.
You're building muscle memory.
Linguistic muscle memory, exactly. And consistency is the fuel for that.
That makes perfect sense. So it's consistency over intensity. If you can stick to that 10 minutes every single day, what are you actually building on a deeper level?
What's fascinating is you're building the confidence that makes speaking possible later on. Your brain is absorbing not just words, but the rhythm, the pace,
The intonation.
the intonation where people pause naturally. All that listening, it acts as this deep, silent foundation. It lets your tongue feel comfortable just trying to make those sounds when it's your turn.
Okay, so we've established it. The non-negotiable step is listen more, consistently. Now I need to figure out, well, what should a beginner actually be listening to? Because if I jump straight into some fast-paced action movie, I'm just going to get discouraged.
100%. The input has to be manageable. You need content that's accessible, that's slow enough for your brain to process without stress. And the recommendations here are super clear.
What are they?
Start with easy English podcasts, slow conversations, or even, content that's designed for children.
Children's stories. That's brilliant. Or simplified news. The vocabulary is limited.
But more importantly, the articulation is clearer.
And the sentences aren't so convoluted.
Right. It just simplifies the whole challenge. And that pacing is so critical. Think about a story being read to a kid. There's repetition, there's clear
A
intonation.
real separation between the words.
Yes, that's the kind of measured input that builds strong listening comprehension, which, is the foundation for everything else.
And on the flip side, what should beginners just stay away from at first?
Avoid the really fast colloquial movies or, those complex niche documentaries.
Which is what everyone wants to watch.
Of course. But they're great goals for later. They use slang, cultural shorthand, rapid speech that just mashes sounds together. They're designed for native speakers.
And they'll just confirm that fear that, oh, English is too fast for me.
Exactly. It's like going to the gym. You don't try to bench press 300 pounds on your first day. You start with the bar, get the form right.
That's a great analogy.
And when you keep that up with the right material, the sources say that step by step, your ears will get stronger.
And stronger ears means a more confident brain.
A brain that's less afraid to try speaking.
Which brings us perfectly to the next part, where we move from that passive input to some active practice. Because input alone, it's not going to make you speak. You need a bridge. And the materials introduce this really high-impact technique called shadowing.
Yes.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because shadowing feels like, I don't know, the physical workout for your mouth.
Shadowing is maybe the most efficient bridge technique there is. It's simple. You just repeat immediately after the speaker. You act exactly like an echo.
So you're not just mimicking the words.
No, you're mimicking everything. The cadence, the pitch, the timing, all of it in real time.
So how does a learner actually start doing that? Do I have to shadow a whole paragraph? That sounds hard.
No. Start small. Use your 10-minute listening input. Play one short sentence, maybe 5 to 8 words, and just immediately try to copy the sound.
Before you even think about the meaning.
Right. The power is in the simultaneity. You are forcing yourself to listen and speak at the exact same time.
I can see why that's so powerful. You don't have time to perfectly form the thought in your head, translate it.
Yeah.
You just have to react.
That immediacy is the magic of it. Because you're combining listening and speaking at once, the sources confirm it helps both your pronunciation and the natural rhythm of your speech.
The prosody.
The prosody, exactly. It helps you stop speaking word by word like a robot and start connecting words with that musicality English has.
It trains your mouth and your brain to just handle the speed of it.
It does.
Okay, now let's address the elephant in the room. Shyness. I'm doing my listening. I'm trying to shadow for 5 minutes, but I'm absolutely terrified to open my mouth in front of another person. What's the immediate solution for that?
The immediate and I think incredibly empowering solution is to just speak to yourself. The sources completely validate this. You don't need an audience to practice the physical act of moving your mouth and forming sentences.
That's so often overlooked, isn't it? Speaking is a physical skill. It's like playing an instrument. You don't need a concert hall to practice your scales.
Exactly. And the freedom of speaking alone means there is zero risk, no judgment. You can try a sentence 3 times with 3 different pronunciations until one feels right in your mouth.
I love that the sources get specific here. What should I be talking about if I'm alone in my room, trying to make myself speak?
They offer really simple, tangible themes. Describe your day, describe your clothes, describe your room.
Just narrate what's happening?
Yeah, narrate your actions. I am pouring a cup of coffee. I am wearing a blue shirt.
Yeah.
I need to open the window.
That's fantastic. They're low-pressure topics. They use simple, high-frequency words and force you to make short, functional sentences.
It's the perfect private rehearsal stage. I mean, we do this anyway. I caught myself narrating what I was making for dinner last night. It's a natural way for the brain to process.
So speaking alone is a great practice.
It's explicitly called out as a great practice. It's the perfect way to build that mechanical confidence before you ever try it with someone else.
Okay, let's move into our next segment, vocabulary growth.
Yeah.
This is indispensable, right? If I'm listening a lot, how do I make sure I'm actually absorbing the words?
Right, instead of just letting them wash over you.
Exactly. The materials offer a really strategic 2-step technique here, and it involves subtitles.
This is all about making your consumption active, not passive. So,
Okay.
Step 1, listen to your content with the subtitles on first. You're pairing the sound with the visual text, making a strong connection.
Okay.
Then, and this is the crucial part, you rewind and you listen to that exact same part again, but this time with the subtitles off.
So you're giving your brain the anchor first, the written word, and then you immediately force it to recognize that word just from the sound.
You're forcing active recognition. And the sources say this method slowly makes your brain active, and your vocabulary grows naturally through context, which then means you can start speaking more confidently because you actually have the words available.
And this all hinges on putting ourselves out there, practicing making mistakes. Which brings us to, I think, the biggest block for so many learners.
The fear.
The sheer fear of making a mistake.
This is where we need a total reframe. And the message here is so clear. It's what separates the successful learner from the one who's stuck. It's simply, don't worry about mistakes.
This is so easy to say and so hard to actually do. We're trained to avoid failure.
Right.
to aim for perfection.
I know, but the sources give us this really positive spin on it. Mistakes are not failures, they're data points.
Data points, I like that.
They're proof, they're validation that you are learning.
Mm.
If you aren't making mistakes, it means you're staying inside your comfort zone, you're not growing.
It's like a baby learning to walk. Every time they fall down, that's not a mistake, it's just necessary feedback for the next try. We have to see language that way.
That's a perfect way to put it. The fear of the mistake is what stops the action. If you just allow yourself to sound silly or use the wrong tense,
You've given yourself instant feedback.
instant feedback on where your knowledge gap is, that mistake becomes your guide.
So what does this all boil down to for the person who wants to speak English starting today? If I have that critical voice in my head telling me my grammar is wrong, what's the priority?
The priority is just action, sheer action. You have to speak, even if it's not perfect. The materials are so emphatic about this. Perfection comes later. Practice comes first.
If you wait for the day you feel perfect, you will never start. You'll just stay trapped in that passive phase forever.
Exactly.
That is such a powerful, liberating message. Okay, let's summarize today's deep dive. We can boil this all down to some really simple, actionable habits.
That's right. The message is this simple. Start speaking English from today. You can do it by adopting 3 core actions.
Listen more
Shadow more.
and speak more.
And speak more, even if it's just to yourself. And remember, those small, consistent steps will help you grow so much faster than trying to do some intense practice once in a while.
It's amazing how a skill that feels so complex like language can really be boiled down to a few manageable habits. It takes the pressure off.
And that really is the core finding from this entire body of material. These simple tips, they aren't just suggestions. They are the practical, accessible pathway to speaking English confidently, starting right now.
So let's end with a provocative thought for you to take with you, something to put into action today. If the biggest lesson here is that mistakes mean you're learning, how can you deliberately seek out a low-stakes speaking opportunity today? Maybe it's just narrating your commute or describing your lunch.
An opportunity where mistakes are guaranteed.
They are guaranteed. And once you find it, how can you embrace every single one of those errors, knowing that each one is just a crucial data point that's accelerating your growth?
Go try.